Hello, I am the real-life fake wizard phoning this in, literally on a phone. Today I'm going to discuss the increasingly polarizing Superman 2025. The word on the internet is that this movie is either dumpster garbage slop or it's an S-tier masterpiece. The truth is, if you're a nerd who has any preconceived notions or expectations about Superman, this film probably isn't for you. If you are a comic book fan and you own Superman long boxes, this Superman isn't made for you. If you wanted a Superman film comparable to the Snyder films, this definitely isn't for you. If you want authentic marketing and commercials to give honest representations of the films you're paying to see, Superman 2025 isn't for you. The marketing team for this film, and probably all the films in Hollywood now, need to be shot out of a cannon into the sun in Fortnite. But if you're a normie that has normie expectations, if you float through movies and entertainment where you don't really care, you either like things or you don't, and you don't let it ruin your day, then Superman 2025 is 100% made for you. This is a hard movie to talk about. Just on that intro alone, there will be some of you who hate what I'm saying. You couldn't fathom what I'm saying, and you want to explode on me for it. Go for it. The comments are wide open. This is a polarizing film that will be very challenging to talk about. I haven't even addressed if I liked it myself yet because I can't. I feel the same way having seen and slept on this film as I did all throughout the entire marketing push. I feel conflicted. You know, most comic book nerds have one or two characters that they love, right? Some people like Batman the most, some people like Spider-Man the most. For me, it's a combination of the top four: Captain America, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Superman. In 2019, I met George Newbern, one of the many voice actors who has played Superman over the years. And we had this really great discussion about why writers of the games and shows and comic books were spending so much effort writing stories where Superman becomes a bad guy. There were lots of those stories at that time. The Injustice games were huge. Those were all about Superman going bad. The Snyderverse's overarching conflict was about Superman possibly going bad. And heck, even the recent Suicide Squad game that was a total flop was once again about Superman being a villain. The last 15 or so years of Superman media is either about Superman being a villain or writing him out of things because writers just don't know how to tell a Superman story anymore. Well, anyway, George said something during our talk that was very comforting. He said, and I think it's important now to really talk about this, Superman is always going to be a hero. He's always going to be a symbol of good, the ideal of hope. And the whole injustice theme is and was always going to be temporary because Superman is the hero who never gives up and just wants to protect people. That's a good setup to this film and what it was trying to be. Superman, the hero who never gives up. On that premise alone, I have to give it some merit. They don't nail it perfectly. Like, there are some moments that fall very, very short. But otherwise, this Superman just wants to be a good guy. And that was refreshing to see. But you see how I just presented that? Like, hey, here's something that I liked, but there's also something in that same point that I didn't like. That's this entire film. That's it, man. It is a flawed 50-50 with lots of crap and lots of heart. I want to see the cast reprise these roles, but I don't want James Gunn to write the next Superman. I want to see James Gunn direct, maybe, but I don't want the same thing of whatever this was again. I don't want a sequel to this. I want a follow-up, if you understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Superman 2025 is not for classic Simpsons comic book lore experts like me or perhaps you. This movie is meant to cast the widest net possible to be something safe and relatable to as many people as possible. To do that, they made a film that, debatably, is for the TikTok generation. This movie doesn't sit still. It never slows down. It doesn't stop to breathe. And when emotional moments happen that take place, it quips with every conflict. And it makes changes to the lore that are aggressively terrible. And yet, besides that, the characters are played off so well that I found myself wanting to see more from this group should it get a follow-up. David Corenswet played a good Superman. Rachel Brosnahan played a good Lois Lane. The chemistry these two had was refreshing, and it was very good. Now, I say that, and I tell you I liked it, but I also need to follow up with, they changed the dynamics of their relationship. Clark is now the emotional one. Lois is the more stoic and reserved one. And somewhere in there, it's like they wanted Lois to be a girl boss, but they pulled it out right before the film hit theaters. Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor, okay, the performance was great. The writing around him, not so great. There are full scenes that just have Luthor exposition dumping so the audience will understand what he's trying to do. That detracts from the scary and pure evil that Holt brings to the character. I take him less seriously when he's just expo dumping everywhere, and yet I still want to see Holt play this character again. Then the Justice Gang. Okay, well, Mr. Terrific was terrific. This is the coolest live-action version of Mr. Terrific we've ever seen. However, I feel about the other two characters the same way I did for the Justice Society in Black Adam. I know people are raving about Nathan Fillion, but I didn't care for him. For every time the Justice Gang, yes, Justice Gang, is on screen, I recall thinking, get these misfits out of my Superman movie. Hawkgirl was embarrassing. She didn't do anything. That brings us into the biggest issues with this movie. Without giving clear spoilers, the story with Krypton is the worst I've ever seen, and I hate it. I have nothing nice to say about it. I'm not going to spoil it here, but I'm going to do a full in-depth discussion this Sunday on the Wizards Crash Out stream, 1 p.m. Eastern. This Krypton story is god-awful. The second biggest issue is that Superman doesn't feel super. This is the weakest iteration of Superman we've ever seen, physically, of course. And I think that could have easily been avoided. When you break down why he's appearing to get his ass kicked every time he gets his ass kicked, it does actually make sense in the context of this story. Like, there are reasons for him to lose some of these fights. However, they didn't do a good job enough showing us that he hadn't lost any fights outside of this film. Let me explain. This movie opens on a title sequence telling us that 3 minutes ago, Superman lost for the first time. This suggests that he wasn't defeated previously, which means he is the Superman we all know 99% of the time prior to the film starting. Which means if they had a montage showing us some of his greatest victories at some point, perhaps during Act 1, then every time he appears and gets beaten henceforth, we know that the stakes are much higher for him to be beaten. See what I mean about conflicted? Here I am trying to justify why Superman was weak in a Superman film. You see, like, this is insane. It didn't need to be this way, and I'm not trying to white knight for this film at all. It didn't have that victory montage, and it didn't make him feel super. And this is a huge pain point for me. I found myself considering Disney's Hercules while sitting in the theater. In Act 2 of Hercules, we get this montage of all the fights Hercules has where he defeats lots of enemies. This shows how strong Hercules is, which sets the tone that the only way he becomes vulnerable is by committing to a bargain that makes him vulnerable. This movie needed a montage like that, something more, something that made it clear this guy is super strong most of the time, but during this movie, he will get his ass kicked, and therefore, it makes a lot more sense. It makes it more believable. But we didn't get that. What we did get, however, was a Superman that wants to save people. He's willing to put himself in danger to save others. He's defined by a beautiful relationship with Ma and Pa Kent that I really empathized with. This was a Superman that was extraordinarily flawed, but gave a beautiful monologue about what he believes it means to be human. I can't overlook those good nuggets of greatness inside the film. I said to my viewers that if Superman was bad, I would tell you. If it was good, I would tell you. I will tell you honestly what I think. I always have. And I'm saying this now. I don't know, man. This is the kind of film you have to make your own decision on. If what I've described is a deal breaker for you, it's a deal breaker for you. I respect that. If you are uncaring and just want to see a summer flick, then by all means, Godspeed, go for it. Launching a movie this divisive to springboard a franchise is a horrible idea. And I'll say this, if they didn't have that offensive Krypton storyline, and perhaps if they had included that montage of Superman victories I discussed, I think this movie would be an 8 out of 10. At least for me. Have you seen Superman? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments. And until next time, create, innovate, inspire. And for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus. My hand has gone to sleep holding this microphone. Okay, goodbye.